Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we've got part 2 of the scenes that can't be missed in the new Harry Potter series on HBO Max. I've picked 3 more scenes from the books that were left out of the movies, and in my opinion they'd be great additions to the show. Let's start with the first one. The Midnight Duel. The scene where Harry, Ron and Hermione encounter Fluffy, the three-headed dog, is a little different in the book. After the flying lesson, where Harry earns his place as Seeker, Draco provokes him at dinner and challenges him to a midnight duel in the trophy room. Ron volunteers to be Harry's dueling partner, while Crabbe will stand for Malfoy. When Draco leaves, Ron explains to Harry what a wizard duel entails and what it means to have him as a partner. Harry then asks, "What if I wave my wand and nothing happens?" "Throw it away and punch him on the nose," Ron suggests. Hermione appears to talk to them, saying she overheard what they were planning with Draco and that they shouldn't be wandering the school at night. They could lose points for Gryffindor if caught. At 11:30, they leave the dormitory, heading toward the Gryffindor common room. They're almost at the entrance to the portrait when Hermione approaches, saying she can't believe they're actually going to do this. She doesn't give up easily and follows them through the portrait. Ron tells her to leave, but when Hermione turns to the fat lady's portrait to go back in, she finds an empty frame. The fat lady is gone. With no way back, she follows down the corridor, insisting she's coming along and won't just wait for Filch to catch her. They walk a little further and find Neville tangled up on the floor, asleep. When they approach, he wakes up. "Thank goodness you found me. I've been out here for hours. I couldn't remember the new password to get into bed, since Neville also can't get into the tower and doesn't want to be alone. He ends up joining them. They almost fly down the corridors. They reach the trophy room on the 3rd floor. Draco and Crabbe haven't arrived yet. They are nervous, keeping an eye on the doors on either side of the room. Then a noise from the next room startles them. They hear someone talking. It's Filch speaking to Mrs. Norris. They're in here somewhere, probably hiding. They start down a long gallery filled with suits of armour. Filch is getting closer. Suddenly, Neville lets out a terrified squeal and bolts. He trips, grabs Ron around the waist, and they both crash into an armour. "Run!" Harry yells. Harry leads the way, with no idea where they were or where they were going. They rip through a tapestry and find themselves in a hidden passageway. They rush through it and emerge near the Charms classroom, which they know is miles away from the trophy room. They thought they had lost Filch. Draco had tricked Harry and told Filch someone would be in the trophy room late at night. On their way back to the Gryffindor tower, Peeves appeared. The moment he saw them, he squealed with delight and shouted, "Students out of bed! Students out of bed down the Charms corridor!" They ducked under him and ran as fast as they could. At the end of the corridor, they came to a locked door. Hermione quickly cast Alohomora and opened it. They slipped inside and pressed their ears to listen. Filch appeared nearby, but Peeves didn't give them away. Neville tugged at Harry's sleeve. When Harry turned, he realised they weren't in a room at all. They were in the forbidden 3rd floor corridor. Right in front of them stood a monstrous 3-headed dog, filling the space from floor to ceiling. The creature had been caught off guard, but was recovering fast, growling menacingly. Harry opened the door and they ran for their lives, almost flying down the corridor. Filch was gone. They didn't stop running until they reached the fat lady's portrait. Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback. Hagrid finally got what he'd always dreamed of, his very own baby dragon. In the movie, we only see little Norbert hatching, and later, Hagrid sadly saying that Dumbledore sent the dragon to Romania, where it would live in a reserve. But in the book, it's actually Harry, Ron and Hermione who help Hagrid get Norbert to safety. Draco Malfoy discovers the secret after spying through Hagrid's cabin window, just like in the movie. As the days went by, they grew increasingly worried that Draco might tell someone, and with Norbert growing alarmingly fast, they kept trying to convince Hagrid to let him go. But Hagrid refused to abandon his baby. He could hardly do his gamekeeper duties anymore, spending nearly all his time taking care of the dragon. That's when Harry had an idea. Ron's older brother Charlie, who worked with dragons in Romania, could take care of Norbert until he was ready to live freely in the wild. After much insisting, Hagrid finally agreed to let them write to Charlie for help. The following week dragged on endlessly. One night, close to midnight, Ron returned to the common room where Hermione and Harry were waiting. He'd been helping Hagrid feed Norbert, and ended up getting bitten. At that very moment, Hedwig arrived with Charlie's reply. The letter said he could take Norbert, but it wouldn't be easy to get him all the way to Romania. The best plan was to hand the dragon over to some of Charlie's friends who were coming to visit him the following week. They would meet Harry, Ron and Hermione at the top of the tallest tower at midnight on Saturday, but then something went wrong. The next morning, Ron's hand had swollen to twice its size. He wouldn't be able to go with them. He had to go see Madame Pomfrey. The bite had turned an ugly shade of green. Later, when Harry and Hermione visited him in the hospital wing, Ron told them that Malfoy had shown up pretending to borrow a book, just to mock him. And worse, the letter from Charlie was inside that very book. Now, Draco knew everything. Still, it was too late to change the plan. And he had no idea about the invisibility cloak. That Saturday night, Harry and Hermione went down to Hagrid's hut. It was late, and Hagrid, teary-eyed, had already packed Norbert into a large crate. "He's got lots of rats and some brandy for the journey," said Hagrid in a muffled voice, "and I've packed his teddy bear in case he gets lonely. Bye-bye, Norbert." Hagrid sobbed as Harry and Hermione covered the crate with the invisibility cloak and stepped underneath it themselves. "Mummy will never forget you." They carried the crate back up to the castle. It was nearly midnight when they reached the corridor beneath the tallest tower. Suddenly a sharp voice made them freeze. Professor McGonagall was there, dragging Malfoy by the ear. "Detention!" she shouted. "And 20 points from Slytherin, wandering around in the middle of the night. How dare you?" "You don't understand, Professor. Harry Potter's coming. He's got a dragon." "What utter rubbish. How dare you tell such lies? Come on. I shall see Professor Snape about you, Malfoy." Relieved, Harry and Hermione hurried up the spiral staircase to the top of the tower, finally taking off the cloak. Hermione couldn't help but grin. Malfoy had just been caught. Moments later, 4 broomsticks appeared in the night sky. Charlie's friends. They brought harnesses to secure Norbert between their brooms, and soon the little dragon was flying away toward Romania. But the relief didn't last long. As they came back down the tower, Filch stepped out of the shadows. They had left the invisibility cloak upstairs. Filch took them straight to Professor McGonagall, and to make things worse, Neville was there too. He said he'd gone out to warn them after hearing Malfoy brag that he was going to catch them with the dragon. McGonagall believed that Harry and Hermione had tried to trick Malfoy into getting in trouble, and that Neville, unfortunately, had fallen for their story. The punishment, 50 points off each. Gryffindor plummeted to last place in the House Cup standings. Harry went from one of the most admired students in school to the most hated. Even Ravenclaws and Hufflepuffs turned against him. Everyone had been hoping to see Slytherin lose for once, all because of a little dragon named Norbert, who, as it turned out, was actually Norberta. Through the trapdoor. When Harry, Ron and Hermione set out to save the Philosopher's Stone, they faced the obstacles we already know, but in the book there were 2 more, one created by Professor Quirrell himself and another by Professor Snape. First came Professor Sprout's Devil's Snare, then Professor Flitwick's Enchanted Keys, and Professor McGonagall's Giant Wizard's Chess. That left the challenges of Quirrell and Snape. After the chess game, where Ron was knocked out by the White Queen, Harry and Hermione had to go on alone. They reached another door, and immediately smelled something foul coming from within. Lying on the floor before them was a huge troll, unconscious, with a bloody lump on its head. "I'm glad we didn't have to fight that one," Harry whispered as they stepped carefully over one of its massive legs. Beyond the next door waited Snape's challenge. Just a single table, and on it 7 bottles of different shapes and sizes. As soon as they stepped inside, purple flames erupted behind them, and black fire appeared on the door ahead, trapping them in between. Beside the bottles, Hermione spotted a scroll of parchment. She unrolled it and began to read. "Danger lies before you, while safety lies behind. 2 of us will help you, whichever you would find. 1 among us 7 will let you move ahead. Another will transport the drinker back instead. 2 among our number hold only nettle wine. 3 of us are killers, waiting hidden in line. Choose, unless you wish to stay here forevermore. To help you in your choice, we give you these clues 4. First, however slyly the poison tries to hide, you will always find some on nettle wine's left side. Second, different are those who stand at either end, but if you would move onwards, neither is your friend. Third, as you see clearly, all are different size. Neither dwarf nor giant holds death in their insides. Fourth, the second left and the second on the right are twins once you taste them, though different at first sight." When she finished, she smiled. "Brilliant," said Hermione. "This isn't magic, it's logic, a puzzle. A lot of the greatest wizards haven't got an ounce of logic. They'd be stuck in here forever." She read the parchment again and again. Finally, she solved it. The smallest bottle would allow them to pass safely through the black flames toward the stone, but there was only enough for 1 of them. Harry told Hermione to drink the potion that would send her back through the purple fire. He asked her to return, find Ron, grab the brooms from the flying key room, and escape through the trapdoor, then send Hedwig to Dumbledore. And so she did. Harry drank from his own bottle, set it back on the table, and stepped forward. The black flames licked at his body, but he felt no pain. For a moment, there was only darkness and fire. Then he saw that he had passed through. On the other side was the final chamber. Someone was waiting, but it wasn't Snape, it was Quirrell. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit like and follow for more coming soon.